Early afternoon and welcome in everybody. As we get into this morning or this afternoon live, as you can see, I mean, this is exactly what I was fearing that they took the route of most possible pain, and that fake out this morning unfortunately is what's going to cause the most pain here. We fell outside now of the FEG. We have a lower CME that we're heading towards. I know that there were some micro CMEs I seen people asking about in the Telegram and asking why I wasn't talking about those, or saying they watch me all the time and I never mention it. They weren't important to me. There's the minor ones that I feel like just get you caught up, but I'm going to go to the ones that actually make the most sense so I don't get caught up in the in-between bounce. So, like, I didn't do anything yesterday. I'm letting this happen, like I said. I had no interest of doing anything besides watching the market do what it needs to do. Now, my son is sick. My mom's here. That's the only reason I'm even doing this live, because she told me to basically go do my work because I just pace. So, but he had a fever, and at school a lot of stuff is going around. So he's got he doesn't usually get it in his throat. It's usually more ears, nose. But so he's on an antibiotic, like an inner ear infection, you could call it. He had a fever of like 101.3. He threw up a couple times today. I haven't slept, so like I've been up all night. So I look like I've been up all night. But I still wanted to do this. I told him to come out and get me if something happens. But right now he tolerated the antibiotic really well. The only reason he even got sick is because tried to feed him some, but obviously the milk base is not a good mix, but it was still good to try to give him it. But now he's going to get like Pedialyte and things like that. But anyhow, I appreciate everybody who said stuff like that and was happy. They're not happy, but were considerate, and they were, giving their best wishes for T. I have not changed my tune. I've been talking about sub $2 and where we need to hit. I talked yesterday about the areas that were good buys, or at least that you could start looking at for all this. And we did get a fake out before we got to the bottom, but that's just that. You get the fake out so you can continue to move down. So when I talked about this scenario playing out yesterday, and now because of that move up, now all of a sudden for like Linnea, it's 934. I'm afraid to see Epic because it went up so much. If it gives all this back, which it's guaranteed to do, that was just an astronomical fake out. If this pours out, now all of a sudden it's going to come down to these targets. Like, it'll come down to 46 if this plays down. And you'll know if it's playing down once it gives the 20-day away and then ultimately makes a new low at 51.60. But it's got room now. Maybe it kept itself in that area. But this is yesterday or 2 days ago when we talked, and I said the biggest fear I have is now they're taking the route of most pain. And that's scary. It's scary right now. Like, I know in the bottom of my heart I should probably sell all of my mining stocks that I have left and then just rebuy it after this big flush, because I know it's coming. And the path of resistance right now, you could technically hold it until it broke that uptrend, but we all know it's coming. There's no reason to even pretend it's not, unless we get that push up here first. But we've got to find some kind of validity, because I still think this could be a rising wedge, maybe, that it just hasn't solidified yet. So nothing's exempt. Everything comes up, it goes back down. Now, the gold and silver might not get hit as hard. Like, maybe it'll be a $400 move on gold, but it's going to be a 30% move on mining stocks. I've done this many, many times down. That's why I sold Silver Corp. I didn't flinch when it was up. I sold Dolly Varden. I lowered my risk. Well, not risk, but I was up so much. And still I'm up a ton on Hecla, but I took, 500 shares worth and kept 1,000. Same thing with Fortuna, sold 500 and something. Now I have 1,000. Everything I sold down, but I still have a ton of money in it, like profit-wise, like to the tune of like 40 grand, even after this drop today, that's in profit. So I got to make a decision. Which is probably going to be an easy one because of the tax time we're in. I'm probably just going to sell all of my mining and then let them reset. Because honestly, I mean, these are going to be some decent drops. Like, I'm not a fool. I know this is going to happen eventually. But it's one of those things, like, I know we're not done yet. So even if we did come down to 765, as bad as that would be, I would still be up. Because I bought it in the $3 and $4 and then 5 something at the end. and then 18% to 9. So it's like we can see a big heartache coming here too. It's just gonna happen. It's no different than any other asset. It's just the only good thing is the weekly's back and oversold. The bad thing is the monthly is so freaking overbought that everything is so overbought and we're showing the monthly reversal. This would be the time if you were going to de-risk and you were going to get out of here. This would be your signal. We came up, got this rejection, and it looks like we're breaking bearish. That would be your signal. So, you know, and then for B2 Gold, I don't expect it to hold this back test. If I'm being honest, I expect it to blow right through 371 and maybe even retest the 2025 starting point at sub $3. So yeah, I think I made my decision. And it was a fun ride, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be able to buy back. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that, you know, I know that we have to have this harsh correction. It's been, I took a lot in profit, like almost 30,000, or I took almost $30,000 off the table. So I'm sitting there going, do I really want to cash all this out? But the whole point is you don't want to give it all back either. Like, I don't want to give it all back. And these are starting to, even in mining stocks, showing these double tops here. And I circled where I think it's going to go on silver. Even I think it's going to back test probably $40. If I had to guess. No, it didn't come up to 55.05, but come on, didn't I get close at 54.45? That's pretty damn close for when I predicted that move. Not predicted, but showed the extent of the move. But anyhow, we don't got time for all of that. We can talk and piss and moan about mining stocks and gold and silver and things like that. But much like I think black gold, oil is going to have like a big correction down to 40 or maybe even worse, and that's going to be our time to get into there. I think we had a cycle run, and now as crypto is pulling down, because this is where a lot of people are just getting bent over, like really badly, and it's because we're not letting it happen. I keep telling everybody, don't buy the dip when it's not the dip. Wait. Would I have liquidated on air yesterday before that first drop if I wasn't comfortable in what was about to happen? I liquidated everything on air in front of all of you that I still had. And yeah, we're not near those prices anymore because Bitcoin was, and it even had a rally to where it came down and came back above where I sold it briefly. And now everything's just cooking. This is what I was fearing, that it would do exactly what it did. And the only thing I didn't sell was XRP and XRP Healthcare when I was on the air yesterday. Like everything else, which was funny because I even bought a little bit of XDC for the weekly buy on Wednesday, and then I said, you know what? Why are we holding this? Why not just let it happen like we see? So, you know, and that's what I'm doing. I'm letting this happen because we're having this, if we're going to go into a real cycle transcending shift here, and I'll show you with the total 3, the total, or in the others. But if we're going into a real market cycle shift, this has to happen. Let this happen. Like, don't get in front of it. This is like getting in front of a freaking freight train. I told you, do not be in this right now. You don't want to just step in front of an oncoming train. And I've seen a lot of people taking long leverage. I'm like, are we out of our freaking minds? Like, don't do that. Just be able to sit here, please. And I've talked about, I want the fear and greed index before I'm back fully in this market to be around 6 because I want to take out the all-time low. If we're going to go to all-time levels, we need to take out all-time levels. You see how that works? So the fact that the fear was going up, I'm like, this isn't even right. We should have or the fact that it was going up instead of down wasn't right. Now I want to see what it reset to. 11. Now we're getting somewhere. Now after what happens right now, what do you think is going to happen in 6 hours and 47 minutes if this continues? Because right now XRP is on the track to $1.95 at first level, because this was the all being part of it. We moved it up here so that you would know that if it was below that, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Where did we come up to? Where'd they fake us out to? Right to the big problem area. Just enough to trap everybody so we can get down to the next layer, probably. It never fails. The trading algorithms are off their freaking rocker right now. This target's never changed. It's just farther down in the pattern. That's all. Now, instead of it being $1.95, now it's $1.94. But I don't think this is going to hold now, ladies and gentlemen. That latest stunt the market pulled, we have a problem. You don't pull that kind of a stunt and go straight up like that if you're not intending on coming farther than we expected. That's the problem now. Now I don't know if we can hold this level. Because now instead of coming up and retesting the rising wedge, we retested the actual fucking Bitcoin FVG box and got rejected. And now we're coming down. There's no reason not to come to 84,236 probably. And then hell, why stop there? Look at Bitcoin. It's overbought now the way it was. The technical target down is 72K. Well, you know, if we stop there off the rising wedge, let's see what the actual rising wedge target is right now. Because we took the path of most resistance. And what I mean by that is we took the route that was going to liquidate the biggest amount of people. That shit show overnight into this morning, I don't understand why everybody was buying. We had the minutes come out and the unemployment. We knew it was going to be bad. Actually, did they even release the minutes? Because there was... I could do it like that. I could do it like this. What does it go from here? Because... yeah, that's how we get 72. Okay. That's how you get the 72 area. That makes sense. Broke down here. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, if you come through these FVGs and this wants to play out, 72K is that first big target on that rising wedge. Now, if you want to extend it out, yeah, we could come all the way to 59, but we have to get past 72 first. So, yes, I understand the minute little CME levels that'll just get filled along the way, so I don't talk about those. There's no reason for me to talk about some of the minute stuff that, if it's going to go to where we think it's got to pass through it anyhow, so I don't waste my time. Plus, I don't have a CME indicator on here or FVG. I just look at the chart, and then when I see something happen, then I start doing deeper research so that I can see, you know, exactly where the numbers are. But the fact we're under 87 is crazy. It's crazy. You know, it's a real big indicator of what they're trying to do in this market. If you are watching right now, see there's 174 people watching, which is astounding. That's great. Thank you so much. Only 62 likes. That's a kick in the dick. If you appreciate what I do, you got to do a better job. Good early afternoon. 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, November 20th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Don't judge me too harshly. I haven't slept yet. So, I pulled an all-nighter, so I'm going to be up like 2 straight days, so this is going to be fun. I also haven't eaten since 7:30 last night, so you can call me hangry, you can call me slangry, or slingry. But, this is, I know it looks bad for everybody, but what have I been saying? And I'm not a financial advisor, but this is what I'm doing, and what I'm telling you to do is what I'm doing. And I'm not saying you have to do it because I'm not a financial advisor, but this is what I would do, and I said it yesterday. And I did do it yesterday. Even though we bought back that small dip for the rise up, I said, I'm done. I'm just going to let it happen now. And I sold Epic on air. I sold the XDC on air. I sold Algo, IOTA, our COPYTRADE Linea at 124 or something, or 104 when it made the rebound. So I got rid of a lot of stuff for this drop, but the question isn't, okay, where do you buy it now? Or where do you own it? What's the time to buy? We gotta, now with this breaking down the way it has, we've got to fill out in time, more than likely, that rising wedge. The fact we came up here for further rejection tells me that we might not even hold this now. That's my problem here, guys. Because if we don't hold this, look how high up that went in the 4 hour. This is what happened is a disaster. Like, I didn't just say we have a problem in the title for no reason. We have a problem. Because if this breaks through these lower levels, we're not looking at 934 now on Linea. Your next big opportunity, if this fucking shaked it up like this, because I was very transparent. I did not want them to take that last up route because I said this is the maximum amount of pain here. And then when it breaks down and goes to that actual low, everybody's going to sit here and go, one, I'm out of money. I can't buy the dip because I thought I was buying the dip, but it turned out not to be the dip. Who could have foresaw that? Well, not just me, the community, because, some. Because we've been through this before. I've been through these cycles with all of you now. My first one, when I started March 24th of 2021. I have not missed a day on YouTube. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm here. You know, and thankfully my mom's here so that I could do a live, and Julie's obviously here too, but it makes it easier when you got two eyes on T. Like I said, I'm driving them insane, so they're basically like, go do your friggin' work. So, you know, it's good that they have a good common bond that I drive them insane. For good reasons. But yeah, I encourage you, subscribe to the channel. We're at 47,300 subscribers. I would love to see this community grow even more. But it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I'm not coming on here saying, oh, it's all, like I haven't, it's not all doom and gloom. But what it is it's time to put up or shut up now. Like, you've either got to have a plan or you don't. You can't just keep buying at random spots, folks. If there's one thing you've learned from me, is it smart to buy if I'm liquid? Just ask that question to yourself. Do I lead you astray? Am I charging you to do this? No, I do this out of the goodness of my heart because this is my historical data. And have I built the portfolio showing all of you from a mere 3,500 over? I mean, I've done a lot of good for all of us. And now it's time to take it home. Taking it home means you don't give it back. You can't give it back. This is why everybody hates crypto. How long have I had that 2.52 trillion target? I talked about it yesterday even. That's your target for the total crypto market cap to come down to. For the total three, down 3% today. The target would have been first area is 846. If we break that, well, then we got another problem. Because if the market's going to break that big, we could have a little bit bigger problem, which might be what's happening right now. And that dot cross is playing out perfectly. So 846 would be your next possibility to hold. And then if it breaks that, I mean, you're talking about possibly a retracement all the way back down to that 771. So, but that's the hardest of the three, I think, to decipher from where it's going to go. The others, I think, is simplistic, too. It's just like total. It's got a very clear target. It's either it holds 202, which is where I think it's heading down to. But if we have some kind of catastrophic collapse, well, then it comes down to 168. I don't necessarily think we're going to 168. Just like I don't necessarily think the total is going to break down past 2.52. You know, so, and like the total three, I'm not convinced it's going to break 846, but, you know, watch the other ones, and if they break those levels, well, then maybe it will. But that's what I think. Now all these are going to catch up, remember? 4 hours got to catch up to the weekly, and the weekly's got to catch up to the monthly, or the monthly's got to catch up now to the, because this looks like we're going to have a full-fledged, you know, liquidate everybody who's not understanding. And then basically what's going to happen is I think we're going to at least match, if not take out the all-time low in the fear and greed index before this next big rally. And I've been calling for a 6 before I was comfortable, and it's still at 11. The all-time low, I believe, is 6. But this double top that looks like is setting up, this, whatever the fuck we want to call this now, because it was a big rising wedge in the total 3 as well. And if the this is the problem, okay? Can I just be honest with everybody? I'm tired of hiding it in the short term. I've shown the longer term version of this, but I don't think, we're all friends here. I'm going to start using that. We're all friends here. I can be honest with my friends, right? Don't you want your friends to be honest with you? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is that, and let me change the color, and nobody ever wants to hear this, but I just show facts, and then you can tell me if I'm full of shit. If I'm on the money, that's a horrible color to show that. I kind of like that orange, if I'm being honest. I'll make them bigger. Shit. Well, that's the wrong orange. That's the wrong one. Oh boy. These actually came out very clear with that last rejection. Not this last rejection, but it came out pretty clear now that it's trying to break. Oh boy. Guys, I'm telling you, I didn't just say we have a problem to say we have a problem. I don't like to talk about the problem until the problem, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, we have it's not a problem yet, but it could be a problem. Oh, it could be a problem. Although, maybe you do it like this to give yourself a little more grace. Yeah, we'll give ourselves more grace. Although it doesn't matter. Look at that. Oh, no. If that's a rising wedge, oh my dear Lord. Dear freaking Lord. And that's even worse than the one that we were projecting. Because it's a shorter one. We were talking about the all-time rising wedge. Look at the inside of it. The inside even looks like a rising wedge these days. From the smaller part right here. Let's just get rid of this, just for now. Look at that. Oh boy. I don't know, guys. If I'm telling you, that move up yesterday is going to be the death of us. And it didn't seem like it because everybody gets happy about that. We're not even close. Oh, God. I don't even know if we're close here yet to the bottom. I know the weekly's overblown. But the monthly, it gives a lot to be desired here. That's what scares the shit out of old XRP Future Millionaire. It could be just because I haven't slept. You know, since, what is today? Thursday? So I haven't slept since Tuesday night? Oh, no wonder. So maybe I'm just talking the you know, the, what do you call it? The malarkey. I don't know. This doesn't seem like malarkey to me. Oh. I mean, what if we do come down to 628? What if it's worse? What if it's worse? Why don't we project this properly as if we're going to break down? Because I have the 628 there. That's not the actual target. That was just me coming through the support structure. If we want to play it real, I mean, look at that. Would you look at that? That's too perfect. Oh, fuck me. Hey, not fuck me. Excuse me. I'm sorry I'm swearing so much, but this. Oh, no, guys. Not frustrating. Please. Lesson. These are lessons. These are lessons. This is a lesson. We'll see if it breaks down. It's not guaranteed to break down. It's not a good sign that Bitcoin broke down out of the rising wedge. Michael Saylor is literally sitting there right now. And if he wasn't a controlled opposition, he'd be sweating his nuts off. Do you know his average buy is well over 74K now after his pathetic buy at 98K when you could see it was about to break down, and another pathetic buy at 93. But he has to do it because that's when the it gets revalued every time it goes up. Where do we go from here today? Well, Ethereum's down 7%, and we're at the make it or break it zone. And I only say that for one reason. Well, not to make it or break it, yeah, but this 2,841, yes, it's below the actual pattern setup right now, I think. Oh, no, the daily just had it. I was going to say, this, even if it was, you have to pay attention to it, but this is why it's make it or break it. If you break this 2,840, what is it in real time? 825 and you lose it, next target's 2345, which is what I've said from the beginning. I think that's what Ethereum's hunting because we've never had that hostile retest. And that's going to be hostile. And, guys, I took that top part off because everybody was getting mad a while ago. You know that's a rising wedge that we would be breaking outside of to the downside. Like, if you think we're done yet, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Alt season never started, which means you can go all the way back down to the nitty-gritty. Okay? That means XRP, in theory, and this is why I like to be liquid at these times of the market. Because let it prove it to me. Let the market prove it. Prove it. January was when you should have sold. And the only time you should have bought, there was 2 times. The first big flush when we were liquid floor. Or that at least we were the ones who listen. But I'm not a financial advisor, so it does take a lot of testicular fortitude to do what I do because I am a fucking... Most people say I'm an insane case because of how I do this, but I understand this stuff more than most. I really do. And I always say don't judge me based on when it's going up. Judge me when it's about to go down, when everybody gets bullish for no reason. And I got to come on here like yesterday and be called the bearish bitch and the bearish bullshitter and all this other stuff I seen. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and a gifted sub as well. Tristan, welcome back. You tried to leave, but you could never leave. 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. He got gifted back in the army. What a guy. Thank you so much for that. I simply don't have time to go through all these comments. I got a lot on my mind, so what I like to do when I have a lot on my mind is I talk, apparently. But I want everybody to realize this. And let's get rid of some of this, because we can redo this. Let's get rid of all this. Forget about the inside noise. We already know the oh, wait a minute. I probably should have kept that inside noise. No. Yes. 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 Oh, yes. Oh, yes, because everybody needs to see the severity of this moment if it happens. You're going to take it. You could take it from here, but I always suggest to take it from the liquidity wick. I like to do that. Then you build it back in. Oh my God, is this getting ugly by the minute? Guys, ugly. We like ugly. You know when you get rich? It's not in greed. You make all of your money when this stuff happens. And I said it yesterday. Everybody's going to buy that first run back up. And then when and maybe it's 2,000. No, that's wrong. I was going to say it's gotten pretty far away from there. That doesn't seem right. And this is very important to not fuck this up, this part, excuse me. I keep swearing, but you know what? I have a sick day. My son's sick, so I have a pass. I have a free pass. I'm allowed to. No, my free pass, I'm not going to use him. I'm going to use the fact I've been up since Tuesday. Can you believe it? I've been up since Tuesday. I look every bit of up since Tuesday. I got so many bags under my eyes. I look like that dog from the cartoon. What is he? The one with the... But look at that. That's completely resetting this pattern. There, I don't see any way of avoiding 2,345. And if the monthly was in a better spot, I okay. But the monthly is our kick in the nads. It is overbought still. After all of that, we're overbought. Now, I don't want to be the one to ask the hard question, but is it possible? Is it possible that we are... Ooh, I don't even know if I want to ask this question. Is it possible instead of breaking down the whole way that maybe, just maybe, we're building something like this and then we just need to get a validation hit? I don't know. That's the honest to God truth. I don't know. Because the more I look at this, the more I'm starting to think like maybe that's exactly what we're doing. Because there was simply no other reason to build these up. Like even the one yesterday, it should have just fell through. Let's face it. There was no reason to trap everybody like that unless they were going for severe liquidity on the bottom end. They were trying to heighten people to go long so that they could get this short. And then we're going to have so much money built up near 195. It's just going to be a shit show the other way when it's ready. But now, again, here's the other problem. This is why I keep saying we have a problem. Instead of now the consolidation being here and having to contend with the over-the-top pattern, if you break down out of here, now you come back to the pattern support. That would be like a third hit on this trend line. But now your resistance is going to be right here. So now your bounce, you're telling me we're going to get a bounce from 2345 up to only 2,800. This is a freaking nightmare, is what it is. So are we going... I have a hard time having hope in anything positive. Mrs. Jennifer Kupiak, and I'm so glad to see you in here. Hope you're doing good. But that's why I tell you guys when I go liquid and I say, listen, just let it happen. That was the best way I could do it this time. And the message I've been trying to push for months now is stop buying the dip when it's not the dip. Now, this very well could be the dip finally. But we have to see. Like, we have to see. Oh, God, do we have to see. Because my buyback zone for IOTA was now in real time is 1066. And I think that with what's happening, we need to make sure that this holds. Because otherwise, we're coming back down. It's going to be a hard reality back down to 754? 78? I got to take my vitamins. I got to take my vitamins. I mean, and I hate saying this, but in order for some of you to have opportunity, some of you have to get crushed. Because there are no earnings in crypto. And that's why I keep saying this is risk. There's no reason to be in when the risk is too great. I have no problem. I always tell everybody, unless it's at the bottom of an accumulation, I have no problem buying, selling it for 15% or seeing what the market does or how I was able to sell IOTA, buy it back at 8.5, for example, then sell it again at 14 something, rebuy it again. I think it was 11 something, sell it again at 12.50 because it looked like it was getting ready to break. Had the initial pullback up to 1285 or 1296. That was to try to get me to buy back right before the real drop, right? Didn't sucker it in, didn't buy into it. Never came on one time and told anybody to buy. Never changed my narrative. Just let it happen, please. The 4 hourly is telling you we've got so much room to the downside, it's scary. We came up too much. What goes up must come down, and if you're going to a bottom, you're going to find a steeper bottom when stuff like this happens. Now, XRP, can it give false hope? Can this be the bottom at $1.98? It could. That was our first target. We have successfully hit our first target possibility. The problem is we built a shit show on the way down here instead of just coming here like I said in the beginning. But we built this. We built the potential here now to break down. And this is opportunity. So anybody leaving, well, there's 209 people in here. Never mind. Never mind. If you're leaving, I mean, 209 people. I can't argue with that. 117 likes. If you get more likes, we could get more new people. But right now, this should absolutely be the time where it's going to try to decide, are we really this bearish? Or can we have some kind of volatility to the upside? Like, this is literally, you are in red alert right now. Red alert. Red alert, and I'll let it sink in, but red alert, this is real talk, red alert, because if this breaks down here, yeah, and it's already breaking below this area, we have a significant, this is where the alts, remember how I kept saying 15, 20, 30%? This is how you get that maximum capacity. Because Ethereum, if it comes down here, oh my God, that's 17% more on Ethereum. Not counting the 6%, 6.8%. It's down more than IOTA. Holy crap. IOTA's down to 1157. But see, now I feel weird. I can't even be happy because so many of my friends are getting demolished in the audience. So it's a weird feeling. It's a very weird feeling. That's gonna hurt. That's really gonna hurt somebody soon. If you're an Epic, yesterday, remember when I sold it at 60 cents and I didn't want to, and I said I'm not buying it no matter what it does unless it proves to me that it's not a fake out. Where the heck is my water? If there's one thing you really need with this, is a water. Water, where did you go? I don't know. I guess I don't get. I guess I don't deserve a water. Ain't that a son of a? And if you guys are wondering where I'm doing this live, it's from my workout area that I built outside in the weights back now. I actually would like to do a set, but I can't. We're in the middle of our show. Tom, you're not passionate enough. I'm going to need you to step it up a little. Thanks, Mr. Dula. Thank you so much. J Sign says, I don't have any profits. Over the weekend, I traded all 2,000 XRP for Root Network. The weakest, I traded all 2K. Or the weekend, I traded all 2K for Root Network after it 3x. Thought it would go higher. Lost it all on Monday. To be honest, I'm done with crypto from 10K to 4K. Now, yeah. No, I understand. That makes me a little sad. That makes me a little sad to read that, honestly. I haven't been there in crypto recently, but I've been there when I was in the stock market. I've been there in a lot of different ways. Let this be the biggest learning lesson of your life, not just if you're going to trade, because eventually you're going to have to invest in something, my friend. And like everybody who invested in like XRPNW today for that week rebound, or XRPC when it was up 7% earlier, or some of them were up 10%. Those are all weak plays right now. How are you going to invest in the ETF when crypto is hanging off a cliff right now? This is the best case scenario for crypto, ironically, because until you get into rate cuts and the quantitative easing, you want to see a shuffle down. And at any point, we could get a big rebound. That's why I'm still looking I'm still looking to see if we can catch one of these spots. Now we're within a buy zone. If it could hold. The problem is what it did in the 4 hourly. That's what scares the shit out of me. Like, now is XDC even gonna... And no, I didn't buy it back after I sold it at 5.2 or whatever on air, 5.18. I didn't buy it back just because it came over my sell. I got a big fear here right now that with what's setting up, are we even going to be able to hold what I was thinking at 467? Or do we really come down for XDC? Like, do we really come down? Like, could the market really be setting up a 50% dump again? If it is, we're going to take out that low in the historic liquidation. And that is when any kind of 20, just hear me out. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but where everything is set up after a quick rejection going up, it's probably going to continue down. Can I guarantee that? Absolutely not. I'm not a financial advisor, and they can't predict that. They're dumb as hell, so let's not act like they can. But I can't tell you what to do. They can tell you how to lose your money, but I prefer to tell you how to make money. And I will go against the grain. I don't give a rat's ass about my average price. Because I made the example. Initially, I bought IOTA at 9 cents or 9.8 cents. Sold it at like 30 something. Bought it back at 18 or 19. Sold it back in the mid 20s. Bought it again at like 17. Ended up having to, or 16, and had to sell it at 14.50. And then I got to buy double as many as I had. I had 40,000. Got to buy 80,000 at 8.5. Wrote it back up. Sold it. When I sold it last time, I had 102,000 with the same money. So it's like, I don't care that my average isn't 8.5 cents anymore because I would have 80,000 IOTA, right? But right now, if I bought, and this is what I need you all to understand. This is part of investing. This is part of understanding how to not deal with the nonsense that people try to trap you in. It's so, honestly, the way people try to convince you to hold is scary. I used to fall for it all. So I started this channel. But now, to put it in perspective, guys, remember that 40,000 IOTA that turned into 80 when it was at 8.5? Had I have done nothing, I'd still be up. It's still up from 8.5 cents. It's still at 11.6. But because I did something, now I can buy 112,000 right now. It's at the mercy of what I want to do. Like, I've got 12% more IOTA even after. So now is my average higher than 8.5 cents? So now if I buy back and I get 112,000 instead of 80,000, are you happy that you have an 8.5? Or are you really happy you have 11.65 cent average with an additional 32,000 IOTA for free? That's what you need to ask yourself. I've been more of a lesson giver here on this drop because I said the same thing that's happened in the past cycles is going to happen again. No one's going to listen for the majority. They're going to continue to buy a dip that's not even the dip. You're only buying a dip that looks like a dip because we went up so much. You don't want to be that person. I used to be that person. Oh, absolutely. Listen, guys, Extreme Ripple Pride said it perfectly. And there's a little bit of, because there's no tax harvesting law in the 30 days like there is in the stock market, there's still other things they can bind you by, but technically, so right now, let's just say listen, guys, listen, if you're holding something, right? If you're holding something and you're down 80%, my advice would be when you think we're at the bottom, or if you think we're at a point where it can go down farther, even it might cost you a few tokens, and this is what people don't talk about. If you're not on a good exchange that's ripping you off, it's not even worth it because you're going to lose. Even if you're tax harvesting, you're going to end up losing tokens, and it's not worth the harvest. You don't want to lose tokens in the process, but if you can do it properly and you're down, abso-fucking-lutely. That's what I've been doing on Kraken. Why do you think I sold and bought the XDC after it went down and I was putting into it until that push up, and I didn't sell it right when it hit the resistance? I like to, even though my XDC's up like 100 and something percent on Kraken, which I got to fix that. It's down a little bit from there now, but because I kept buying it and selling it, it ended up being a profit of like 100. It got pretty high up there. So yeah, I do the same thing. A good example of is Algo. Algo, when I bought it back and went down after the second time, and then I sold it for like a $400 or $500 loss. But now I can buy back. Like, it's such a big difference. Like, another good example would be just Epic from yesterday. Remember how it had the drop? And then it had the big rebound. I had 10,000 tokens. And when I bought it back, I was able to get 10,600 tokens. I know you all remember this. So now if I went back on here and went to Epic, I still have this. I think I took a couple dollars out of here even. Oh yeah, I definitely did. I moved it over. What did I put it towards? I don't remember what I put it towards. Oh, because I started moving some into the future side in case I did copy trading. Duh. Okay, well that makes sense. I was wondering, I'm like, where did I put that? That doesn't make it. Anyhow, so that's not an apples to apples. I took money off. I had 6,100 and something. I forgot I took that 500 and moved it. So that's not an apples to apples. My bad. Never mind. But right now it can be 10,000. Well, it was only 10,050 when I sold out and sent the money over. Now I can get 10,200 and something. So even then it made a little bit of a difference. But this is what I'm trying to teach. Like, that's the truth. Like, I can sugarcoat it any way I want, but teaching you through like the IOTA trades and those kind of things, you don't have to be afraid. Yeah, Scott, that's not a bad thing to hear. But remember, I don't put any stock into that particular stat, and I'm going to tell you why. These institutions aren't buying it on exchange. Therefore, to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, I think that's all a big dog and pony show they play on retail to get our hopes up or down. I really do. I've said my piece with gold and silver, mining stocks. I probably am not going to sell a whole bunch of stuff out. I mean, I've already sold, like, I have $30,000 sitting there now. That's all from trading the miners back out. But like I said, I still got 1,000 First Majestic, 1,000 Fortuna, 1,000 Hecla, no Silver Corp, no Dolly Varden, 300 Pan America Silver, 400 B2 Gold, 3,000 B2 Gold, and 400 Barrett Gold. But the problem is like when I first started buying B2 Gold, it was at 220 something. I bought it up. Barrett was at like 15, 16, 18, 22. So it's like, even if I sell out, is it worth it? Because I know I'm going to buy it back. For Dolly Varden and taking the ones over the top, selling 500 of Fortuna to get it back to 1,000 and 400 or 300 of First Majestic, that's worth it. Selling out 100 of Pan America Silver to drop it to 300 was worth it. Now, Barrett, I might need to sell 100. I think Barrett's the one I forgot to do that. Because I like to keep Pan America. But there's just so much stuff going on here. And it's like, I have a hard time focusing on this. I have a hard time focusing on this stuff right now because that's not my worry zone. We're getting to a point now with crypto when everybody's going to give up. This reminds me of every past cycle. Everybody wanted to convince themselves it wasn't the top. And guys, for now it is. I said it in January. We legitimately hit my technical target 3 freaking times. It's over. My technical target for Bitcoin for its bullish run this season, and I think I did pretty damn good. We were in this consolidation before this ever happened, and I made a prediction up to 122 when Bitcoin was down here in this consolidation still. You're talking 50, 60K, and I was talking about 122 looking like an asshole. I was pretty freaking close. One could argue that was the top, what I said, outside of a small wick over the top. Like, that is tremendous technical analysis. So, and I'm not gloating. I'm saying because we understood that was the cycle top, why do we have to be afraid of a retracement? Why do we have to be afraid? Why can't we take profits? Why are you not allowed? Why do you sit through every cycle and give it all back? For fuck's sake, IOTA, when I bought it initially before November, push up in 24, it was at 9.5 cents. Now it's at 11.6. If you sat, you've done it all for 20%. That's a problem. It's a risk asset. This isn't a store. I don't care what anybody, no numbskull, dumb fuck tells everybody, because they are. This is not a store of value. This is a risk asset. A risk asset is meant to be bought and sold after the market, after the rally ends. Just like mining stocks, listen to yourself, Tom, are meant to be sold after the rally ends and you reaccumulate towards the next consolidation point. When do you traditionally sell a miner? When the monthly is oversold. Or I mean overbought in a bad way. That's my rule of thumb. And I did to an extent, but it's like, listen, Tom, listen. Where's the monthly at in all these? Oversold, breaking bearish. Get out of the way, dumb fuck. Is what I'm telling myself. Because this is coming back to 5. Okay. You know what? I'm going to put a reminder on here. And I'm not going to do it live on air, but I'm telling you, my mining stocks might be going to bye-bye right now. Listen, guys, the XRP ETF, you always go down minimum 20% when they get released, sometimes up to 60%. That's just the way it goes. I can't help that. Second half of 26 is going to be the reemergence of mining stocks, I feel like. But this is going to get ugly. I'm going to it's painful, but let's see where I'm at right now. I started, as you know, at $7,500 when I started with the miners. Built it up to a position of like 30-something thousand, 40-something thousand as it was starting to make its ascension in the very beginning. And like right now, even with the drop today, $96,000 I have in there in value. But 27,000 is on the side now. So unfortunately, what I'm going to do, and I'll let them reprove it to me. I have no problem waiting. I got all the time in the world. So, you know, B2 gold and all of these, I'll put in a sell order, and if it fills it up later, so be it. But these are all things that I am okay doing, because I believe once this next shift happens, we're legitimately going to have a big cycle shift again. And unfortunately, we got to ride it out in a very real way in mining stocks. And I'm not saying it's over, guys. I'm just saying there's times to look at things, and there's just times. That's all. I'm not saying you have to do anything else. I'm just saying there's time. And you want to protect your capital at all costs. And we know we're having a big breakdown in all things. It doesn't scare me though. These times don't scare me. This shouldn't scare you guys. This should be quite the opposite. And I'm not saying that we're going to go down from here. It might not go down from here. We might get a transcendent reversal. You know, I'm just saying, like, there's signs right now that we're so oversold. And now we could continue. That's the thing, though. 42 could be the target first. We don't know. That's why it's dangerous to just sell. But just monitor. And just monitor it. Right now, we're just in a position where I always tell people to take profits. I always tell people, especially, we were up a shitload. Well, I mean, it seems like a shitload, but, you know, it's one of those things. If you keep doing it properly, and then you keep buying and selling at the right moments, all of a sudden, it turns into a pretty crazy thing that starts to build up. I've seen it firsthand, not just in miners. I've seen it in firsthand in crypto. But right now I'm seeing that double top that we were afraid of, and it looks pretty honest that this is going to come back to 40 bucks. I'd be surprised if it doesn't, honestly. Like you're talking about some things like Hekla we bought at $3.50, $4, and now it's at 13 still, so I know these moments are tough when you have to take profit or when you have to wait until the next push, but just like with oil, am I getting into black oil right now even though I really want to? No, because I know that it's not the right time. Just like I know when the time was to get in the miners, and that's when we got into it in January. Now it's one of those things. We're going to have a cataclysmic event happen here that forces them to lower rates, and it goes everywhere. Now, am I telling you not to hold? Am I telling you not to buy mining stocks? You got to find the right spot if you haven't been in them. I'm not telling you have to sell them, obviously. I'm just giving you kind of like the shot. And I said I would wait until we double topped, and I've been talking about it a lot more after the double top. Because that is a key technical indicator that things aren't right once you start double topping like that. So just means exhaustion. The monthly's so overbought that it just tells you we had a great run, and it's not over. It's not over by any means, but in a certain sense it is over. Okay, in a certain sense it is over. You know why? It's hard when you have to start making decisions. It was hard for me with crypto too. I know a lot of people are going to leave because we're talking about the miners, but it just, understand it's not just crypto. This is by design right now. They got to take everybody's wallet away. That's just the way it goes. They got to take everybody's wallet. They know it. They know they're taking everybody's wallet. They really do. So now, I mean, we'll see what happens. I got $96,000 in that account. And that started, like I said, that's the mining stocks. I know I have over $50,000 liquid for crypto for wherever I deem necessary, not counting XRP and the XRP healthcare. So I really like where I'm sitting right now. I've got the market by the kahoonies, which is how I like it. I like to be on the opposite side of everybody else. I would like my audience to be on my side. And I told everybody 3 weeks ago, don't buy gold when it hit 40. It's at the right when everybody was buying. That's when I started selling my miners, if everybody remembers. And then I said it's not urgent yet because we're going to double top, so I can wait for it to come back up to see if we break through. Seems pretty clear we didn't break through that double top. It's a sad moment, really. This happens to me every cycle. I get sad, but it's not over yet because I don't even necessarily think these are done going up. I think there could still be. There could still be that differential. We could still have that big move back up. It's just we're getting to a point right now where the market's telling us, especially in the daily, that we got a problem here, that this needs to at least come retest. So even if you sold at 11, you could probably buy it back at 9. So once I start hearing things like that, I know, and this was an inverse pattern, that's why you would have wanted to wait for the pull down, and it hasn't been invalidated yet, but the way it pulled down, this seems like a trap. Almost like another rising wedge is starting to be built here, which these start to feel dangerous when you start getting these building. This is what's happening in the crypto market. You're starting to get stuff like this, even when you start to have to put a pattern together. And look at this. That's not necessarily a rising wedge, but you're starting to get to the point where these are like last-ditch efforts to consolidate, and just the volume portfolio is breaking down. And that's a head and shoulders clear as day. It looks like to me. Over here, you built this shoulder area, head to a right shoulder area, breakdown, should come to 9. But I personally think we could back test where we haven't back tested this breakout, a hard back test at like 730. I think there's big opportunity coming across the board. You just have to know how to play it. Yeah, I like I said, I have my 10,000. Listen, for anybody who's new, the reason I'm not selling my XRP and the XRP healthcare I have reacquired again is because initially with XRP, I bought 34 cents, 10,000 plus tokens. And then when it came to 38 cents, I bought $5,000 worth through the XRP Bitcoin pairing. I sold all $5,000 worth, which was well over 10,000 tokens, when it went up over 3 mostly and over 350. So I'm not in it. I don't want to sell my XRP that I have at 34 unless it shows me that we're going to come all the way back down below that and then some so that I can have additional capital. Then I'll sell it. But other than that, and just like XRP Healthcare, I bought 50-something thousand at 1.7 or 2 cents on average. It went up to over 50 cents. I didn't sell them all up there, but I took a fair large amount, and then I bought them back when it got to that 3.5, 3, just under 3. So I'm no reason, and I have over 100,000 of those now. So I was put in a very nice position because of having the foresight before. So I'm not looking to sell those. But did we not get direction by the middle of September, like by the middle of November? And it doesn't have to be good initially. Sometimes it starts out bad. But this isn't going to be forever, everybody. This won't be forever. Just like mining stocks. They're not going to go down forever. They might not even be ready to just go down yet. That's why I'm not telling you to sell. This could be a back test for a further move up. So That's why I said you have to make your own decision and see what fits for you. I just have I have an uneasy feeling here, so it's nice to have some profits in the back pocket is all I'm saying. But I'm not a financial advisor, so proceed with caution, because with what's going on in this environment, there very well could be a healthy reversal in mining stocks before we get a big breakdown. So, but that's just the way it goes. You know, nobody really knows the exact spot, the exact moment it's going to go to those areas. Crypto, Bitcoin, still barely on the verge of 87,000. So a lot to deal with, a lot I know. I'm gonna end this shortly because I want to go check on my son. XRP's doing this. Are we getting rejected at $2? Like, it's trying to decide right now if it's got any steam to come over $2. It probably should retest 203-ish at the very least. But the 4-hourly doesn't look all so impressive, I'll be honest. That doesn't give me a reason to be happy right now. None of this does. But right now, if you want to be honest, we're in between. We still got to, if we're coming to clear out this Bitcoin futures, the CME, it makes absolutely no sense not to finish this drop. Maybe it does come back up here and retest 88.4, and then if it gets rejected, it comes farther. That's something we have to consider, because that was a hell of a drop. From 93, almost 92.4 this morning, all the way down. Yeah, that was a $6,000 drop from the high just this morning. So they did it again. They made it irresistible for the USA. Now, I know that buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Wait, like, for me, this is where you wait for the confirmation, because right now we're literally at breakdown zones. If $1.99 looks good for XRP, doesn't $1.70, $1.82, possibly even worse if we break down out of these patterns? You know, I'll continue to say it as many times as I can. Let it happen. Let it happen. T. Perro Tommy says, thank you, man. I finally see the truth. It took me a while, and you have pissed me off in the past, but now I finally get it. I so appreciate that, Tommy. T. Perro. That's what ends up happening. Yeah, and Art was very vehemently agreeing with me when we were taking profits. Art was an early comer with the profits. He did it early like I did. Not early in the sense of where he sold out, but early before the narrative switch. I appreciate all of you that say that, though. For some of you, consider joining Tom's Army if you want to pay it forward. I really do give you everything I know. Not just in crypto, but also in mining. I don't lead you astray in anything. I'm not trying to give bad advice. Nothing like that. I'm just trying to make sure that we understand. Like, we still have a chance with gold, though. With how much we're going... It's just the problem is we're so overbought right now. That's the only issue we have with gold and silver in the monthly. But other than that, I think if we get a nice shuffle out here before December, the next rate cut... What if we do get a 15-20% correction from here on mining stocks, and we actually get this next corrective leg? We actually get, you know, a healthy correction, because this is basically what silver's waiting for, to get under $50.50 or whatever it is. That's what it's looking for, because that's the double top confirmation. I really think that's what's happening. If we just be honest with ourselves, doesn't it make sense to come down here to retest a pattern breakout after a 40-something year cup and handle? It makes sense to retest that actual breakout. I put the number here. It could be 40. It could be 39.68. Do I think we're going to come all the way back here to 33? No, but it's not out of the question. Look how oversold we are in the monthly. I'm telling you, this is a perfect chance to pull this back. Let all these other players be able to buy this cheaper. Remember, we're going digital with gold and silver. So everybody says gold and silver, crypto is the digitized gold and silver. Bullshit. Digitized gold and silver is digital gold and silver. Look at the NASDAQ. When I started, it was up 600 points. And I said, with XRPNW, which was up 6%, and some of these other ones, don't buy them. And now the NASDAQ's gone red. Julie? Oh. 222, wow. So, okay, I'm going to go, though. I think my message is loud and clear. I hope I didn't scare anybody away. I'm just trying to teach you the truth and try to let you see the truth in the game. Remember Bitcoin dominance, it's going to go down, right? But I said when Bitcoin dominance goes down initially, the prices are going to go down more, because the only reason dominance is going down is because Bitcoin's dropping, but the alts are falling faster than Bitcoin dominance is, which means that somehow, some way, more money's still holding on to Bitcoin. And if it wasn't for these fake outs here this morning with some of these, it would have been worse, because this at least came up to 63. You know, that's a big thing for Epic, but at the same time, if it was just doing this to liquidate down to 46, or the 46, that's a problem. Because it comes from 51 just to go all the way up to 64, and it makes people happy. It's up 13 cents. Now all of a sudden it's down to 55 something, and you're wondering, like, well, what do I do now? I certainly don't want to give it all back, you know, so I just choose to stay out of these moments. This is the big drop before the rip. I said it before and I'll say it again. If this was going to do what we thought for quantitative easing after tightening stops and with the rate cuts and all that, we needed a big dump first. We need a dump. So we need to sell the news, or sell the rumor, buy the news. So they're selling the rumor of the quantitative tightening and rate cuts coming and ending with tightening and QE starting. And they're going to buy the news, though. That's what's going to happen this time. They're probably going to buy the news. Probably going to buy the news. Be blessed, everybody. I so appreciate everybody. Thanks for everybody who's tuned in. I really appreciate you. I'll give Little Man my love from all of you as well. Thank you, T. Peril. I appreciate it, Tommy. There is no panic. I feel zero. I keep telling everybody I don't panic. I actually feel good when the markets are like this. Can't explain it. Just like seeing this, these are high pressure moments for mining stocks, and I know a lot of people are going to buy. These are the moments when I sit back and I go, you know what? It was a great run. Look at where we bought it. Just think about these. All in January is where you have to look at the pricing. So I talked about buying the stuff in January. I mean, you're talking, well, this was down at 4 something, but you're talking about, let's just say 480 when it came back to the bottom here, because we didn't buy Heckler until back here. But anyhow, 4 something. And now you're talking about it's way up here. Doesn't it need a cool off here? Don't we need isn't it telling us we need a cool off? Isn't the monthly telling us this is too far overblown and we're getting ready to make that? It came up too fast. I just have a feeling we're going to get this profound reversal. We went up more than we should have because of good earnings. And now we're going to set ourselves up in a nice consolidation here, maybe the end of the year. But after this, I mean, if it goes up from here, God bless us. Because if it goes up from here, oh God. It might cause a bigger problem later, that's all. We don't want to top out here is my point. We'd rather not top out. Craig Carlson, thank you so much for being in town. 6+ months with the XP Predictor says, these lives are why I show up every day. You have to. You have to. My Yard Now, thank you for being in town 3+ months. XP Meteor and Robert over 2 months with Does House Crypto News. But I'm going to go drag this on in a good way. Hopefully we can find some direction here shortly. Let's see how we react to 88,400 if we rebound here. And let's see how XRP reacts to either 203 or 206.